What's up guys, Joe Bennett, Redcon One head trainer here, tackling the controversial subject of barbell bench pressing. So again, this is one of those things where if your goal is physique development, if you're a bodybuilder, competitor, or you just want to look good, you want to have a good chest, you need to have the same thought process always. What is the goal, and match the exercise to that. So again, if you like bench pressing just because you like bench pressing, or if you're a power lifter or whatever, those are all fine reasons to bench press. But if you're doing it for more chest development, not shoulder development, not just feeling like you need to go on and just participate in that activity when you go to the gym, you might need to modify things. So one of the most common things that I see is if basically you don't have the biggest rib cage and you have broader shoulders, like we've got this guy here to demo, things just don't line up quite as well. The checkpoints that you want to have line up when you bench is you want the bar path, your upper arm path, and everything that you're doing looking at your upper arm path to line up with the fibers of your pec and to line up with your shoulder joint. So if he goes essentially into a flat press motion here, you can see if he goes and essentially presses, you know, he's got things lined up all right, where it's lined up pretty well with his chest, pointed a little bit out of his shoulders. But if we drop a line straight down from that bar path, so if we literally go right this direction, you can see that bar doesn't line up with his shoulder joint at all. So it's very common when you get guys that do a lot of flat bench press or come off of a set, your pecs may be involved a little bit, but tend to get a lot of shoulder issues. So one, you know, basically this bar being here is going to influence that shoulder to a certain degree, where the front delt's going to be involved, and it's essentially always kind of pulling and loading you into internal rotation. So it tends to lead to some people with some rotator cuff issues for that reason as well. So again, if you're watching this and you're a guy that has a huge rib cage and bench pressing feels great to you and you get a lot of pec development out of it, no shoulder pain, this video is not for you. If you're a guy that every time you flat press, you get a lot of shoulder pain, you know that you don't have the biggest rib cage, you know you have a little bit of a flatter rib cage and a little bit broader shoulders, then you might want to try some different variations. So what we're going to demo, and we'll show from the side on the different bench press variations, is a lot of times all you really need to do to make things line up is slight adjustments to incline and decline. But if he does a slight decline type motion, basically one, we can see that his arm path lines up right with the fibers of his pec, his upper arm is moving right in line with the pec, and now if we drew a line straight through from where that bar is, it lines up perfectly with the shoulder. So sometimes it's as simple as, okay, now he's got a 10-degree decline and everything lines up well. Sometimes it's as simple as going to a slight incline. So same thing here. We look at the bar path where his upper arm is pointing, where his forearm's pointing, and if we drop that bar straight down, it lines up with the shoulder joint. So for him, a slight incline also lines up very well with his chest, very well with his shoulder joint, and is going to be a lot more shoulder friendly. So we're going to demo that now actually on the bench, and hopefully we can show you again the checkpoints you're looking at. Again, if we're looking at that bar path, his forearm and his upper arm, we want all those things to line up with the pec and all those things to line up with the shoulder joint. So what we're going to demo here is basically a flat barbell bench press. It doesn't really align great for him. It lines up okay with his pec fibers, but really doesn't line up well with his shoulder joint. So he's going to go ahead and demo. And the main thing I want you guys to see here is as he brings the bar down, especially at the bottom, that bar path, if you drop it straight down, obviously does not intersect his shoulder joint. So basically that bar means it's influencing the shoulder joint in this direction. You know, so one, the front delt's got to be involved raising the arm up, and also it's being pulled a little bit into internal rotation as well. So go ahead and do a couple reps for me here. And you'll see really at no point in time during that exercise does the bar line up with his pecs and his upper arm and his forearm and everything line up with the pecs and his shoulder joint. So what we're going to demo here is if by just going to a slight incline, so he might be about a 30-degree incline or so, we can keep things lined up much better. And by lined up much better, I mean the bar path, his forearm, his upper arm, all line up with the pec fibers and they line up with his shoulder joint. So go ahead and show a couple reps for me. So you can clearly see his arm driving straight out of his forearm, all in line with the pec fibers. And if we drop that bar straight down, it's pretty well in line with his shoulder joint. So the main thing that that bar is influencing right now is going to be pec, specifically upper pec fibers. Go ahead and do a couple reps for me. So he's driving his elbows straight out. That bar is right in line with his upper chest, right in line with his shoulder joint. And so again, this is going to be a good option for training pecs, particularly the upper fibers of the pec, and also it's going to be very joint friendly. So as long as he's listening to the range of motion that he's got at the bottom, which again is going to be a little different from person to person, he's going to have things that are again going to stay all on his chest and be a lot easier on his shoulders. All right guys, so last option we're going to show here is a slight decline. We're at the Redcon One home office, so we don't actually have quite enough decline here. We've got a couple plates under the front of the bench, and I'm going to have him take his feet up on the bench as well too, and kind of lift his hips up. So the ideal would be maybe another 10 degrees decline or so, but we want you guys to get the idea of what a slight decline would do for him. So go ahead and bring that off for me. Nice arch in the back, hips up. And so you can see in this slight decline here, if he stops at the bottom, bring that forward just a little bit, it's much closer than the flat barbell. You can see now he's basically about an inch off of his shoulder joint. He's nicely lined up with the outer and lower portion of his pecs. And honestly, if he was just another 10 degrees decline, everything would be lined up perfect with that joint. But you can even see, comparing this to just the flat barbell press, how much closer that bar path is to the shoulder joint. And again, all that's going to equate to is now that bar is influencing just the fibers of the pec, and it's going to be much easier on the shoulders. So guys, again, to summarize, flat bench pressing isn't bad. You just have to make sure that it matches your goal. And I'd say that a lot of guys, flat bench pressing does not match their goal of developing big chest. So if, again, your goal is pec development, sometimes all that it takes is a little bit of a decline or a little bit of an incline. And that way things line up a lot better with your shoulder joint, line up with the fibers of the pec that you're trying to train, and it'll make it something that you can do long term, again, developing your pecs and not necessarily taxing your shoulder joint.